Hopefully you guys can see how wallowed out that is. Well, time for a new project. Alright everyone, so today we're going to go ahead and fix the Jeep. As you saw earlier, the upper front control arm brackets have wallowed out. I'll show you how to fix it. And we're going to fix it by using a welder, a grinder, some flat bar. And the flat bar you can pretty much get anywhere. So let's go ahead and take... Okay, so here's your front axle, drive shaft, upper control arm bracket. This is the driver's side. So here's what we're going to do. This is a piece of flat bar, and I got a length of it from Tractor Supply. I think it was like 12 bucks or something. It's 3/16 steel. The thickness is crucial here because we need the thickness for the bearing surface. The surface that's going to get, all the weight is going to get buried on. Here's what we're going to do. So for the outer side, it's fairly easy. I already made some markings. I'll show you in a minute here how we're going to do this. We're going to take a piece and we're going to cut it out to... We're going to take a piece and we're going to cut it out to this shape here. Now the outside is the easy part. You could even take a thick washer, or you could even take some of this flat bar here, and you could just make a washer out of it, or you could find a washer, ream this bigger, stick the washer in there, weld it shut. This part's easy. The outer part, I'm sure you have many ideas. The part that's hard that caught my attention was the inside part here. This is really narrow. So it's really hard to get a welding gun up in here, or welding anything, and weld through here to fix this. Now, one way to do this is you could replace the whole bracket. I think the brackets are like 45 bucks a pair. They're not that expensive. What we're going to do, though, is there is enough room up here between the bolt and the frame, so when you go to put the nut in, this will fit, to stick it up in here just like this. That's what we're going to do. We're gonna put a hole in this, take some measurements, get some alignments, get it aligned properly. Then we're going to weld it on the bottom, and we're going to weld it on the top. And we're going to stick the gun up in there, and we're going to try to weld up as far as we can. That way we get enough surface area, enough attachment points with the weld to create it, to make it strong enough. And this should work. Basically I just drew a shape, and so what we'll do is we'll cut this shape out. Missing someone. Okay, so what we did is we made two identical parts. Okay, I'll show you how I did that already. Then what we did is we found a center punch that fits in the holes almost perfectly. There's a little bit of movement, but we can compensate for that. Okay, on the other side it doesn't move at all. So we found one that fits in the holes perfectly. And what this will do is this will find the center of this wall out hole. What I did is I took the outside piece first, lined it up here, right? And then I went from the other side of the frame where there's a hole, and I stuck the punch all the way through there until it made contact, all the way through right there until it made contact to this metal piece. I clamped this metal piece down. Alright, today is tomorrow. Actually, it's like a week later. But finally got what we needed. McMaster car. We needed bolts because the stock ones are too short for what we're doing, since we're adding metal on both sides. The stock bolts for the upper control arms on the TJ Wrangler are M10 by 1.5 by 70 millimeters. In case you're wondering, if you want a tight fitting hole for these bolts, for the stock ones, if you're drilling new holes, you need a W bit. That's the one you need, a letter W. They're not too expensive, so you should be able to find them. Anyway, now let's go drill a hole. Missing someone. As you see, I got it bolted up, lined up. We're going to go ahead and put some tacks on it and then make sure it's good. One thing to note, you could do a 90 millimeter bolts, the length, instead of the 100. 90 would work just fine. So you could save a few pennies doing it that way. But let's go ahead and see if we can get a few tacks on here, or see if I'm going to have to grind through all that paint. Okay, let's try this. And you guys, so that's done. We test drove the Jeep. It's awesome. Two things I was able to do by fixing that. One, well, I was able to fix the wallowed out holes, which is a big deal, right? And it was allowing the axle to shift slightly, so driving it was terrible. The other thing I did, though, is I was actually able to adjust the pinion angle back to more like stock location, which is the caster back. I'm going to show you something. Some of you are going to freak out when you see this, but let's see. See that pinion angle? See how it's not aligned? That's more like the stock location. I can get away with this because I have manual hubs, so the drive shaft doesn't turn, so I don't get any vibration from it. However, if you don't have manual hubs, then you will need to keep that pinion angle aligned. I was able to turn it back, which brings the caster back, which makes it drive really nice. Okay, so a few things. One, on the driver's side, it's much easier if you take the drive shaft out, or at least this side, and move it, and then you can get in there and weld all it around. My welds aren't the best looking, but they are strong, which is all that matters. I did put a spacer in here because the 100mm bolts I thought were a little bit too long. They're not. They're okay. The 90mm bolts would work too. So I already had the control arm in though, and I'm lazy. I don't want to take that back out. That's basically what's going on there. I wouldn't do anything thicker than the steel here, because then you can't get these nuts in there. You can come from the frame side here, but right there, but it becomes a big pain, whereas these little flanged nuts are nice because you can just reach it up in there. I still gotta do some tying. I still gotta tie this back, all these wires back up and stuff. Let's see what else. On this side, it's actually quite difficult because you have the exhaust there, so I just run a series of tacks and then clean them up. I'll show you another trick too to adjusting your pinion angle down if you have to. Everyone knows how to do it up. You just you undo the control arm, put a jack here, jack up, and then, you know, get it to where you want to go. But what happens when you got to push this down like I did? It's actually quite difficult. You can't jack on the front of the pumpkin because it doesn't twist it enough. There's no other jacking point. You're not going to jack on your steering, or you shouldn't. So there is a trick I'm going to show you, and let me go get my tool and I'll show you how I do. You need to do, if you need to pull your pinion angle down so you can see how not aligned it is now. Homemade setup. So you get a good ratchet strap. The bigger the handle, the better for this one. Your ratchet strap's going to want to sit up in here. I don't have up in there because the exhaust is hot right now, but it's going to want to go up in there like that. Okay, so you loop it around your mount on the frame side, or on the axle side there. And then the TJs have these cool little hooks inside the frame, these slots in the frame, and a hook fits in there perfectly. And then you just do this. And then you just ratchet away until you get it to where you want it. And that's how I adjust my pinion angle down. It's so much easier than any other way. I've tried another way. If you guys know other ways, let me know, and I can see if they work, but this is the easiest way I've found. I do have a come along, and the come along hook will actually fit in that slot on the frame too, and the come along will be even nicer. But if you don't have a come along, this is a super cheap way of doing it. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comment down, or any discussions. Let me know what you think about this fix. Let me know if I could have done something different, something better. Other than that, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. We got a few more projects coming up, including the trailer, and I just bought something that's gonna make the trailer slightly more expensive than it should be. So stay tuned for that. Okay guys, see you later.